Welcome. I am going to make a vegan chocolate cake today and talk you through it as I go, in honour of Veganuary and just to have some fun. I haven't made a video like this before, so please bear with me if I'm a bit fidgety or clumsy and keep looking away from the camera because I need to look at the ingredients and method. So first off, I'm going to preheat the oven because I always forget to do that. So I'm going to do that now. So the oven is on. I've put it at 180 Celsius because I have a fan assisted oven. I will put the whole method with the video so you know what to set your oven on when you're making this cake at home. I don't want to bore you, but there's two ingredients I just want to talk about before we get started. The rest of the ingredients we'll just add as we go, mix and bake and hope for a good cake at the end. I just want to say that I use oat milk as my dairy alternative milk. I find that it's one of the tastiest dairy alternative milks out there, and it has B12 in and one of the highest in proteins for plant milks. I also use Vitalife butter, which is going to go in the Buttercream. This also has B12 in it, which is something you really need to consider when choosing the vegan diet. I'm just going to go ahead and start putting all the ingredients together and talking you through as I go, and hopefully not forget anything and make a smashing cake for you all to join in and make another time. So I've washed my hands and I'm ready to go. I've started by putting 170 ml of the plant milk in a measuring jug, and I'm going to add the vegan yoghurt, which I've chosen vanilla so it can add that extra flavour. I'm just going to add that your yoghurt pots are recyclable, so give them a wash and put them in the recycling bin. Next thing is 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Cider vinegar will make the plant milk look a bit funny, but that's exactly what it's supposed to do. Then we're going to add 250 grams of caster sugar to the mixture. The recipe I'm following said to use vegetable oil, but I'm going to use coconut oil as a bit of a healthier alternative. I have also added 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence to that mixture. With that all mixed together, I'm going to set it aside and start on the dry ingredients. So I'm going to sieve the plain flour, 220 grams, into a larger mixing bowl. So next in that mixture is 100 grams of cocoa. Double check the cocoa when you buy it from the store, make sure it hasn't got any milk in, as sometimes it does. Make sure that it's a vegan cocoa you're using for this to be a 100% vegan cake. I'll probably say that I'm sieving in all of the dry ingredients to prevent having any lumps or bumps in it. Next in is a teaspoon of baking powder and bicarbonate soda. And then 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm not going to put the sieve in the sink because I'm going to use it for the buttercream as well. So I'm just going to set that aside. And then add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, I think. Yes, that's what we're doing next. So you should be left with a similar looking batter to this. So I preheated the oven, remembered that one, but I forgot to spray the cake trays. So I've got silicone cake trays. I find them easier to get the cake out at the end, and I cheat a little bit and spray them with Fry Light. It's just a bit easier and it looks a bit more professional, like they do on Sugar Rush on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, it's quite good. If you enjoy making cakes, which I hope you enjoy making cakes if you're watching this video. So, I mean, this probably makes more mess in the end because I spray it everywhere, but I'm making a mess. And like I said, we're having fun. So I've sprayed two cake tins, and then I'm going to put the batter into the tins and get them into the oven. I feel like the best thing about making a vegan cake is the best part of making any cake. You can eat the leftover batter guilt-free and not paranoid that you're eating more egg, which I always was as a child. Not that I just lived off of cake batter, but my sister loves baking and she always let me lick the spoon, and I was always worried that the raw egg would make me ill. I've put the cakes in the oven. The recipe says to put it in them for 25 minutes, but I don't know if my oven's really powerful, but 20 minutes seems to be enough. I often do it for 20 minutes, then test it with the toothpick to see if it's still wet inside, and if it is, then I leave it in for that further 5 minutes, but I don't want an overdone cake. My 20-minute timer is on. I've quickly washed up. It's nice to have like a clean work surface to work on when you're going to start on the buttercream. so you don't get things all mixed up. So I've melted 100 grams of dark chocolate in the microwave in short bursts to make sure I don't burn it. So I've mixed the butter and melted chocolate together. I'm going to sieve in the icing sugar and cocoa powder. It was 200 grams of icing sugar and 20 grams of cocoa. The timer is up, so I'm just going to poke the cake with a toothpick and see that the toothpick comes out dry. So that was 20 minutes in, so depending on your oven you might need to check it as you go. The cakes are out of the oven. I'm just letting them cool down before I put the buttercream on so that it doesn't melt into the sponge too much. The buttercream is ready, so I just have to wait for the cakes to be cool. So now that the cake has cooled, I've just put a layer of icing on the first sponge, ready for the second sponge to go on top to sandwich the icing in the middle. Just waiting for the cake to cool a little bit more than I did, because you can see the icing is starting to melt a little bit, but I just wanted to go ahead and have some ready to eat now. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it's given you inspiration to make your own cake at home.